Hi Stampers, this is super awesome Stamper Shirley Merker. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, USA. Here's my second Make and Take project for our Friday Night In event. It's the Fall and Spring Fling where Tracy Held from Australia and I are showcasing fall projects for being in season in Wisconsin and spring projects for being in season in Melbourne, Australia. All right, so this is my second Make and Take. So look for your card envelope that's got the early Espresso card base and pull everything out and see what you got and set your envelope aside. You also want to locate your little acorn trinket because we'll be using that on this card as well. All right, so look in your packet and pull everything out. Now, I've already pre-done my card base here. But you notice that it's not a regular fold like this, regular opening. It's a little fancy fold that's a really easy fancy fold. So what you're gonna do is take the edge of your card and you're gonna fold it into the spine of your card base and then grab your bone folder and crisp up that scoring edge so that when it stands, it looks like that. All right, it'll look like this. But it's meant to sit flat on a desk for display. Okay, so we're gonna set our card base aside and we are gonna work on our stamping. So let me set some of these pieces out of the way here. I am using the paper piercing mat because the stamp set is photopolymer. So you get a little extra give with that photopolymer, or you get a little extra give with the paper piercing mat. What you need to transfer the ink from the stamp to the paper. All right, so you got a little strip of Very Vanilla, and on that we're gonna stamp the thank you. And these stamps come from the Beautiful Autumn stamp set. It is the stamp set that I'm featuring, and it's part of the Gilded Autumn suite. All right, so now our card is orientated horizontally. So you're not going to stamp on your card this way. It's going to be the horizontal way. So ink up your stamp. Tap, tap, tap. Straight up and down, no rocking. Firm and committed pressure is the mantra. There. So we're done with our ink pads. We can close that up and set that aside. Set the paper piercing mat aside. And we can start assembling. So pull back the card base. And this is the inside piece. So, there we go. Got some adhesive. Just center that on the inside horizontally again. All right, I'm going to tuck this up so we can see where we're going here. Next step would be to add your piece of mint macaron ribbon. If you don't like how I've trimmed the edges, just do your own little trimming and or pulling to make it look more organic. These kind of ribbons that have got a nice edge that you can pull and make it look kind of messy, I kind of like that. All right, so that will go right there. So try to lay down a strip that's in line with your ribbon. I got a little bit down a little bit there. Oh, but you can move that Stampin' Seal. That's great. Okay, next will be the copper piece. Again, if you don't like the length that I've trimmed, just do a little quick trim and thread your acorn trinket through the copper piece. And I have to kind of pinch it a little bit. The acorn trinket hole is pretty large. There we go. All right, and I'm not going to put that trinket center on my Very Vanilla piece. It's going to kind of fill in the space where the word stamp doesn't have any ink. All right. And for this, we're going to grab our glue dots. I'm going to put one behind the acorn trinket. And then just to secure that where I want it, that's the first step. Okay, whoops, I want it up a little higher because I want my ribbon to be, my copper ribbon to be centered on my mint macaron ribbon. There. Okay, now next we're gonna grab our glue dots and we're gonna roll one on itself. So it's not the full diameter, it's like a half of a glue dot. And I'm just gonna place that glue dot behind that copper ribbon to secure that down. Probably in 3 spots. So just roll it with your spatula from your Take Your Pick tool. Place it where you want it. And then secure the other side. Just with one is fine. There. So now that acorn acts as the holder, the ribbon kind of acts as a holder too, but the acorn is the final stop to keep it sitting upright. Okay, so we're done with the glue dots for the moment. Next step is to locate your mint macaron 4x4" piece. Now, if you're in Australia, Tracy has an appropriately sized piece for you, and all our measurements are in our tutorial as well. So I decided to emboss this piece using the Old World map. I chose not to emboss the card front. That would have been cool, but it would have reduced the durability of the front and the ability for it to stay upright. So I can get away with just embossing this piece. So that's what I chose to do. Now, I would not put paper or adhesive on the back side of this because we're going to want to do it on the whole thing. I would figure out where it's going to lay on your early espresso base and just put some strips on the early espresso base. That way you don't accidentally put adhesive down here where you don't need it. And then I'm eyeballing it, and what I'm doing is making sure that it's centered on the early espresso base, and then it's centered with a little bit of that very vanilla peeking out on either side. All right, now pick up your designer series paper and decide which patterns you like up. I like the early espresso up, but I am not going to waste this very pretty and copper embossed leaf pattern. So that's going to go up, and we're going to show just a little bit of this houndstooth up, tucked under there. So add some adhesive to that strip. Glue dots work well. Your liquid glue works well too. And then strip on either edge there. This is our next layer. You decide how much of that brown you want, brown pattern you want facing out. Okay. Now we got a couple of pieces left. The Label Me Lovely punch, a sprig, and your sentiment, and then of course some pearl embellishments. So since this card is not going to be mailed, I'm going to do some popping up. So I popped up these with some dimensionals. And the reason why, well, you can mail this card, but that acorn trinket definitely is larger than 1/4 inch. So you won't be able to mail it with just one postage stamp. So mini dimensionals. And then I liked the flat side of this punch going vertical because we're going to cover that up with the sentiment anyway, so we can enjoy the nice curly edge on the top and the bottom. All right, and then the sprig, just a glue dot at the bottom of the sprig works, and add an angle, and that just kind of mimics the pattern of the leaves a little bit, adds a little bit of texture. Next layer is going to be the thank you. So we're going to put a little strip of Stampin' So Plus on that. center it on the Label Me Lovely. And then pull it in your pearls. And it looks like I used the medium pearls on this one. There, so here's my sample card. Here's what I just created. A fun little different card. We got to do something different with these fun acorn trinkets. All right, let's meet back in the Zoom room. If you're watching on YouTube after the event is over, you've missed a great time. Maybe you'll join us next time at our next Friday Night In. Bye.